SQL, Excel, Tableau, or Power BI, basic stats, and healthcare fundamentals. Those are the skills that I said that you needed to learn in my last video. So if you've watched that, you already have the roadmap. And that video still holds up and I'm not walking back on any of it. I do want to say though, that roadmap that I talked about gets you to qualified in 2026. And qualified isn't really rare anymore. And the reason has almost nothing to do with the skills themselves. Quick refresher for anyone new here, my name is Sharif and I have a master's in health informatics from Northwestern University, which mostly qualified me to explain what HL7 stands for at social gatherings. I started my career as a clinical data analyst, and today I work as a business analyst in healthcare. So today I'm not giving you a new roadmap from scratch. I'm actually giving you the update, what actually changed since my last video, and what I'd personally do differently if I was starting at zero in 2026. And I'm also going to explain a couple of mistakes that I made early on that you do not have to repeat. Let's get into it. So here's the first thing. Every single person applying against you can now generate a SQL query, a pivot table, even a full dashboard outline in about 10 seconds using AI. So the part about I know how to write SQL is not really the flex it is anymore. And now it's like saying you know how to use a microwave, which is cool. So does everyone else applying for the job. What actually separates people now is judgment. Can you look at AI generated query against claims table and catch that it's duplicating encounters? Or can you tell when a dashboard the AI built looks great, but it's actually answering the wrong questions? And that right there, my friends, is the real skill in 2026. It's can you catch it when the query, either human or AI, is lying to you? So here's what I would actually do. I would use AI constantly while learning because it makes you faster. There's no denying that. Feel free to ask it things like generate a mock patient encounters table so you have something to practice on. Ask it to explain why a join is pulling duplicate rows. And you can even ask it to quiz you on the difference between a claim and an encounter until you can explain it in your sleep. You gotta use it like a tutor who never gets tired of your questions. I still ask AI tools questions that I probably should already know the answer to. There's zero shame in it. But, and this is the part that I feel like people skip a lot, every output gets checked by hand. You don't actually own a skill until you can catch the AI being confidently, professionally wrong. And guys, please believe me when I say this, AI is not perfect. There will be times where it is wrong. Now, in my last video about how to become a healthcare data analyst, I gave you 3 project ideas. One of them was a readmissions dashboard. Another one was a claims cost and utilization project. And the third one was a quality and safety trends report. Don't worry, these are still great projects worth building. Nothing about that changed at all. But here's my update on that. A clean, pretty dashboard by itself doesn't prove much anymore because a hiring manager already knows AI probably helped you build half of it. What actually proves something is showing your thinking next to the output. So by that I mean for every project that you build, I'd add what I call a decision log. And it's not fancy, it's just a few bullet points under the dashboard that walk through what you noticed, what you decided, and why. For example, something like I noticed 12% of what looked like readmissions were actually same-day transfers, not true readmissions. So I excluded them before calculating the rate. Otherwise, leadership would have reacted to a number that wasn't even real. That one paragraph right there does more for you in an interview than the dashboard itself does. Because now you're not just showing a deliverable, you're showing how you think when the data is messy and nobody's told you the right answer yet. Which, by the way, is a lot of the job. Nobody hands you a clean data with a note that says, here's exactly what's wrong with this, good luck. The reality is you have to go find it yourself, kind of like you're on a scavenger hunt. Quick tip on this, don't use real patient data. Obviously, even old data. Use publicly available synthetic healthcare datasets, and there are several good free ones out there. Or you can generate your own with AI, like I mentioned. Keep it de-identified and clean from the start so you never have to think twice about it. The third thing is the market got more crowded, not less. AI made it easier for way more people to produce a passable resume and a passable project. And this means recruiters are getting absolutely flooded, and a lot of genuinely good candidates are getting lost in a pile before anyone even opens their resume. So if I were starting today, I would not just build my 3 projects quietly and wait for the recruiter to discover me telepathically. I would honestly post about it. And a short LinkedIn post goes a very long way. All you gotta do is break down one thing that you found in your readmissions project and why it actually mattered. You don't need to do anything fancy. Just, here's what I noticed, here's what I did about it, and here's what I would try next. I think it's also beneficial if you go comment actually thoughtfully on posts from people already working in healthcare data. And don't do something like, hey, great post. You should add something real like a smart follow-up question in a healthcare analytics community instead of just scrolling and lurking. And I want you to get this right. You're not doing this to go viral, and please do not expect it to. You're doing it so that by the time you actually apply, a few people in the space already recognize your name before your resume even lands. And that's the difference between a cold resume and a warm one. And in a flooded market, the warm one wins basically every time. One more thing, guys, and it's one big mistake that I made myself early on. It's answering interview questions with what you know instead of what you did. For example, if someone asks you, how would you handle a spike in readmissions? And people launch into a textbook answer about root cause analysis. And that's cool and all, but that's not what they asked. Use your own project. For example, you could say that in my readmissions project, I noticed transfers were inflating the numbers. So here's exactly how I isolated that. Now keep this in mind. Specific beats smart every single time in an interview. It shows that you've actually done the thing and not just read about it. And if you haven't done it, there's a simple solution to that. Don't be afraid to say that I'm not sure, but here's how I would figure it out. Nobody expects you to know everything. They're checking whether you panic or whether you problem solve. And there's a big difference in that. So just to recap, the foundation for my last video still holds. You still need SQL, Excel, a data visualization tool, stats, and healthcare basics. Don't skip any of it. What's new for 2026 is use AI to learn faster, but never stop checking its work. Build your portfolio around your thinking instead of just your output. Get visible before you need the job instead of after. And in interviews, lead with what you actually did, not what you know in theory. If this kind of breakdown is useful to you, I would really appreciate you hitting that subscribe button. I'm building this channel specifically for people trying to break into or move up in healthcare analytics, health informatics, and healthcare tech. And every video is aimed at getting you one step closer to that. And guys, I also packaged all of this into the Health Data Analyst Launchpad Kit, which is something I made to help people break into the healthcare data analyst role. The link is in the description below if you want to check it out. And if you want more of this kind of stuff in your inbox, like deeper breakdowns, stuff that I don't always put in my videos, my newsletter is the spot for that, and it's also linked below. Once again, my name is Sharif, this is Informessor, and I'll catch you in the next video.